US President Donald Trump has doubled down on his claim that $21 million were used to interfere in the Indian electoral process. After initially making the first big claim, Trump went a step further and called the entire proposal a quote unquote kickback scheme. This, even as the Indian Express argued that Trump had mixed up his facts and confused India with Bangladesh. The BJP responded saying this is fake news. The foreign ministry has responded now officially to the allegations made by the American president. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Donald Trump is a headline a minute president. And as he upends US policy, not just domestic, but also foreign policy, tremors are being felt across the world, and India is no different. Trump has shaken up politics here in India with his claim that $21 million were being deployed to increase voter turnout in India. He went so far as to say they, though he didn't specify who the they is, they probably wanted someone else to win, implying that this was a kind of proposal to stop Modi from coming back to power. The BJP has pointed a finger at the Congress and once again reiterated the links between the Congress party as alleged by the BJP and George Soros of Open Society. The Congress is hitting back saying that the BJP's own leaders have had long and established official relations with USAID, the agency at the center of this storm. The foreign ministry is now responding to the American president's allegations of US interference in the Indian electoral process, calling the allegations troubling and saying concerned agencies will have to investigate these. Meanwhile, an old MOU signed between the Election Commission and a foreign entity that has received money from USAID as well as Open Society is now under the scanner. The former Chief Election Commissioner S.Y. Qureshi has called false and malicious the allegation that there was any financial transaction, saying that the MOU related to a training program. It's an absolute mess and there are more questions than answers. The main question is this: surely if $21 million have been given to an entity in India, it can't be that complicated to find out who or which or what that entity is and what that money was used for and why. To understand what's going on, domestic political row triggered by Donald Trump, I want to welcome our guest to the program. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, supporter of the Congress Party, is with us. Welcome to the program, Tehseen. Tavleen Singh, who argued in one of her very viral columns that India needed a Doge-like project for itself to cut down on red tape, is with us as well. Remember, this is a Musk-initiated plan to cut down on extra flabby spending, from which this entire controversy emerged. Veteran diplomat Ambassador Puri is with us as well. Manjeev Puri, good to see you, sir. And finally joining us is Rajiv Pandey, leader and spokesperson of the BJP. Namaskar and good to see you. Let me not waste any time. Trump is doubling down on his first claim that $21 million were used for voter turnout in India. Today, he's calling it a kickback scheme. Listen in.
$486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, and $21 million for voter turnout in India. Why are we caring about India turnout? We got enough problems. We want our own turnout, don't we? Can you imagine all that money going to India? I wonder what they think when they get it. Now, it's a kickback scheme. You know, it's not like they get it and they spend. They kick it back to the people that send it, I would say, in many cases. Many of these cases, anytime you have no idea what we're talking about, that means there's a kickback, because nobody has any idea what's going on there. $29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh. Nobody knows what they mean by political landscape. What does that mean?
So it's important that Donald Trump mentions Bangladesh, because the Indian Express in a front page article today argued that Trump had mixed up India and Bangladesh. But Trump very clearly in a new speech says there was a different amount of money for Bangladesh and a different amount of money for India. The foreign ministry is reacting, calling these allegations troubling. Listen.
Seen information that has been put out by the US administration regarding certain USAID activities and funding. These are obviously very deeply troubling. This has led to concerns about foreign interference in India's internal affairs. relevant departments and agencies are looking into this matter. It would be premature to make a public comment at this stage. So, Reza, relevant authorities are looking into this matter, and hopefully we can come up with an update on that subsequently.
A guarded statement there. Let's get first comments. Ambassador Puri, I'll start with you. A very piquant situation. I don't even know which department of government should be responding. In this case, the foreign ministry has responded, only to say it's too premature to say anything one way or the other. The allegations are concerning. The Express argued this morning that Trump had got it wrong. But since then, Trump has doubled down on his allegation and made a distinction between the money used for Bangladesh and the money used for India. What do you make of what he's saying?
Barkha, on a lighter note, obviously the Indian Express is read by President Donald Trump. Good for them.
Yeah.
He is bound to double down on his statement. But let me make a serious comment. Look,
Yeah.
when the US president says something, and I don't know whether the repeat was done before the official spokesman said something in India, naturally government has to react. And they've reacted in the only manner which is possible. That look, we've heard this from the president himself, and we will investigate and let you know, because the integrity of the elections, our pride in our democracy, the fact that we conduct free and fair elections and that these are open elections, etc., is something which we can't compromise with, and we are very proud of it. And so rightly they've said it needs to be investigated. What you said was a very good ballpark statement. Surely you can find out where 21 million has gone. I wish things were so simple and it was just
How can it be complicated?
No,
I don't
let me-
understand. No money can come in, as I understand, without the government or the RBI knowing, unless the
no,
USAID is giving it to an American
So,
NGO.
Barkha, please listen a little bit also to what
Okay.
President Donald Trump said. He didn't even mention that the money came here. He simply said it was a kickback scheme. I'm not answering, I don't know any facts. I'm only reacting to what you said. If it's a kickback scheme, where did the money go? We have no idea. I think we do need to have much more facts on the matter before we can comment. And the External Affairs Ministry spokesman is right, spot on. That's what you would have expected them to do. Let's be very clear. We are very proud of our electoral system and the fact that we are the world's largest democracy and so on. That's the way it has to be.
Would you take Trump seriously at this point and also take him literally? Or would you say that these answers have to come from within India, Ambassador Puri?
Barkha, look, the President of the United States in himself, no matter what my personal opinions, etc., may be, the fact is that you have to take him seriously and you have to take him at his word. And this was not a joking matter, especially if it's been said a second time. So you do need to look around and see what has happened to it, etc. If I recall the Indian Express story, it said that out of the 21 odd million, some only 13 million have been dispersed. Remember, the organization to whom this money has been supposedly disbursed is an organization sitting in the United States of America. So I don't know what else to say. One has no access to facts, and one can only react. But I completely am with my colleague who has to say what he has said, and that's the correct thing to do. And frankly speaking, in my opinion, I don't think India's democracy is very mature. It's gone a lot of places. Many people may have tried or not tried, but frankly, come on. Aren't these the governments that we want? And the way the election results are, the way our colleagues, our people, our friends, and everybody voted. You and I may not have voted this way, but that's not the point. We accepted, and we accepted as people.
Yeah, I think that's a good point about the robustness of Indian democracy. But before I come to Tehseen and Rajiv, Tavleen, is this a storm in a teacup? Or, as Manjeev just said, when the American president says it not once, not twice, but twice, and even if he's Trump, whom people aren't able to necessarily wrap their heads around his style of functioning, I mean, who's going to answer this question? Is it the Americans? Is it USAID? Or is it the Indian government?
I find it very hard to take Trump seriously. He says Ukraine started the war, that Zelensky is the dictator. Everything that he has said on foreign policy is, to me, it's nonsensical stuff. Okay, so I really find it very, very hard to take what he says seriously. We don't know what he's going to say tomorrow about the same thing. So, but if money has been distributed and, taken by who, we should find out. That's one way to look at it. But me, I grew up in a time when Indira Gandhi was paranoid about I've not grew up. My journalistic career began when Indira Gandhi, everything was the foreign hand. If there were floods, the foreign hand. And I think that the BJP needs to control itself a little. It's, George Soros, who's 99 years old, right? It's not possible. And also, let's have confidence in India, in the fact that we aren't so easily bought by people. So I find that the BJP's the general reaction is overreaction, and I find that a bit depressing.
Yeah.
I said
Let
in
me,
my column,
yeah.
I've written in my column tomorrow that they need to, if we're going to be this great Viksit country, let's stop behaving like a third world two-bit country, so what if somebody is trying to, spread around money for, we can fight that. It's not going to change the election results, in my view.
Rajiv ji, how would you respond to that? That, there's a sense that the BJP is being over paranoid. My sense is the BJP is not being paranoid. The BJP has found a stick to beat the opposition with, and that's what the BJP is doing. It's politics. But that has to be different from how India officially responds, which is by the very circumspect statement from the foreign ministry. And we have to distinguish between government and party, right? Now, my question at this point to you is, as a BJP leader, do you not think it would be very easy for the government? Income tax could send a notice to USAID. Say, place whatever you have spent in India in the public domain. If it's given to an American entity outside, then I don't know how we trace it. Then the Americans have to answer. But then too, the government has to push the Trump administration for an answer. Abhi kya ho raha hai? Hawa mein baat hai, because such little information is available.
Barkha ji, hawa mein baat hai. It will be investigated. Just wait. It has just come on 4th. Few days back, this whole thing just started. Mr. Trump said so. He has repeated now. Now Indian government has already responded. So it will be done. It will reach to the logical conclusion that what has happened actually. But two things I want to say. First, what our ambassador Saab has said, that we have a robust economy. That is perfectly all right. For this kind of $21 million and $21 billion will not, $21 million, I'm saying $21 billion will also not help to change the result of Indian election. I completely agree with Tavleen ji that it is not going to. We are a very mature democracy, and it is not. I am very happy that this is now coming on 4th, that people were saying that government is trying to manipulate. Now it is coming that opposition was getting help from outside India, and they are trying to manipulate the election. They tried, they failed thrice. That is their choice, because we have seen how a Congress leader went to Pakistan and talking to their intellectuals that please help us to overthrow the government of the day. So, Tavleen ji, we are 100% sure that it is not going to affect Indian elections. But if some organization is trying to do something, then that can affect us adversely. Not only in the election, that can affect us adversely on security situation or on any other situation. We have seen, we
but
are
Rajiv
a large
ji,
country.
Rajiv,
Barkha ji, only 1 second. We are a large country. We have a mature democracy. But this organization is a habitual offender. We have seen what has happened in Bangladesh. We have seen what has happened in Sri Lanka. So we will have to take it very seriously. And one thing I want to tell, one more thing, Barkha ji, you said that $21 million, whether it has come to India or not. When there was a previous government, one minister was sitting, very powerful minister, with FDI files, and his son was collecting money outside India. That minister went to jail also. Still, he is charge seated. He was a very powerful minister.
Okay,
was talking
okay.
and making a lot of things.
Your
reference,
reference, I got your reference to Mr. Chidambaram there. Let me bring in Tehseen to
I'm saying
respond
about
now.
him only.
But that said, the USAID was not always a pariah. We've had images of Foreign Minister Jaishankar meeting with representatives of USAID, Smriti Irani, as the Congress continues to say. In fact, let me play out what the Congress's official reaction to this is, and then I'll come to Tehseen. The Congress is asking the BJP to explain its past relationship with USAID. Listen.
हम USAID या जो भी ये फॉरेन फंडिंग एजेंसीज हैं, हम उनके खिलाफ नहीं। देश में कानून है, कानून के तहत फंड्स आते हैं, एनजीओज भी लेते हैं, इनके एनजीओज भी लेते हैं, इंडिया फाउंडेशन भी लेती है, विवेकानंद फाउंडेशन भी लेती है। कौन नहीं लेता? लेकिन सिलेक्टिवली आप बोले कि साहब कांग्रेस की सरकारों ने ले लिया। अरे जब स्मृति ईरानी ब्रांड एम्बेसडर थी यूएसएड की और सिलेंडर लेकर यहां सड़कों पर प्रदर्शन करती थी, तो क्या यूएसएड करवा रहा था वो प्रदर्शन?
Okay, so this is in a way finger pointing. Once again, Rajuji, Tehseen, you've never been a fan of sort of George Soros. You have in the past sort of criticized him. Now there are all kinds of wheels within wheels in terms of the conspiracy theories right now circulating. Right, there's an old MOU between the Election Commission and an entity called the IFES that is now under the scanner. S.Y. Qureshi, who was Chief Election Commissioner, has gone on record in a tweet to say that there was no financial transaction, but it's, you know, we don't know much more about this MOU, but he's on record saying that there was no financial transaction. This is what the website of this entity reveals, that where the EC is listed, by the way, as a bilateral public funder. So that also confused me. It's the EC that is listed as a funder as opposed to a recipient. So please, if you would all go to this website and do some basic Google searching, some very strange things come up. So why did the EC sign this MOU? The EC can answer. If the funds have gone to anybody to so-called increase voter turnout, somebody in India should answer. If this was given to an American entity, Trump should answer, or the Doge department should answer. But a sweeping attack without details, how should we as Indians process it? Can we unmute Tehseen? You're muted at your end. You need
No,
to
I'm
mute,
not.
unmute. Yeah, we can
I
hear
did.
you. We can
Perfect. Okay, so two things. First of all, I am not a fan of the Porsche Poor or the Mercedes Marxist, as I've told you. So George Soros does not list in any of my list of people I'm fond of. I think George Soros is a 90-year-old irritant, but I don't think a 90-year-old irritant, even if he's a billionaire, can destroy my country's democracy. Number two, I am a fan of the Dodge movement. When I am in government, I will have something like that and kick Babu's out. So Tavleen, congratulations on your article. And the argument by the BJP reminded me of my childhood. Barkha is a very naughty child. So I've never studied. Ambassador, this is true. So I've only studied about the cow, but the essay is on the house. So, you know, right, I have a house. In the garden, there's a cow. The cow has two horns. It has a tail. The cow gives milk. The cow is white. Bhaiya, sawal ghar pe tha. आप गाय पे निबंध लिख रहे हो, because that's what I studied. So I leave Rajiv ji, a very erudite lawyer, out of this debate. Let's talk on facts, only on facts. Fact number one, we have no evidence of anything that's being said. We are all arguing something, we don't even know what election is being manipulated. So let's go with the only number that we have, something Mike Benz said, 2019. Barkha, please Google search 2019. Who was the president of the United States of America? A gentleman called President Donald Trump. Who was the Prime Minister of India? A Prime Minister by a gentleman called Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That's 2019. Let's come to 2024. If 2024 is true, the highest amount of funding India has ever got, the NGOs. Obviously, if this is to remove the Narendra Modi government, as the hypothesis by my friends on the BJPs, so the government hasn't got the money, it's the NGOs that have got the money. The highest funding Indian NGOs have got after 2014 has been post 2020, when again, jog my memory down, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister. So NGOs have got the money post 2020 from USAID, the highest funding. Now, if this funding, let's hold 2024 as a barometer, was to increase voter turnout, one, you don't know how with that figure of 182 crore rupees or $21 million versus an election of $16 billion and 1.35 lakh crore rupees, a figure Tavleen alluded to, you can increase voter turnout. But if it is to increase voter turnout, as the BJP now brings in the caste census, is the BJP saying they were stopping Dalits from voting? All of this is ridiculous. Now that goes to the first election, 2014. Wait a second, there was actually a regime change in 2014. So let's go back to 2013. And I firmly believe, and I've said this, that 2008 onwards, foreign money did come into India to stall the nuclear deal. I firmly believe the IAC and the Arvind Kejriwal movement was a movement to change of government, and a government got changed. Now, all of this is speculation. Even I'm speculating. Who is the only person who can investigate? The people who look at the RBI data. This money is obviously not come in cash. Obviously, this money has been paid in US and it's been transferred here. Where has this money gone? Are you telling me today, Barkha, as I end, that the IB, the RAW, gentlemen like Ajit Doval ji, the election commissioner who's fabulous on Shairi, have no clue where money comes in and actually is destabilizing the Indian election? Therefore, by inference is 2024 was not a victory for Narendra Modi ji. And if it was not, is then the opposition charge that elections can be manipulated through Rajiv ji? There Rajiv ji says the opposite. So the whole factor is, I believe in my elections. I don't believe 182 crores can change my elections. The ball is in their court. The day I am home minister, I will give you answers. But the problem is our home minister and our prime minister do everything else except doing governance.
Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot to process. But let me add two little facts to that. The voter turnout in India was in fact higher than in the United States of America. The spend in India on elections was higher than in the United States. So those are two ironic facts to consider. But the BJP is going all guns blazing. They're now pointing a finger directly at Rahul Gandhi. Amit Malviya, of course, dismissed the Indian Express report as fake news, but the BJP has gone on record to accuse Rahul Gandhi by name of somehow being involved in this process to try and manipulate Indian elections. Take a look.
Leader of opposition, the party in opposition, the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi, who have taken oath under the constitution to preserve the integrity and sovereignty of our country, are indulging in anti-India activities and activating and acting as a stimulus for anti-India forces to interfere in the pure and pristine electoral process of our country.
Okay. Very quickly, before we come back to the politicians, Ambassador Manjeev Puri, I have a question for you. And that question is this. What should happen next? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has given a very careful, circumspect statement saying it's premature to say anything. The concerned agencies will investigate. Can you please tell me who are the concerned agencies that will be investigating, should be investigating this?
So, Barkha, what should happen in the first instance? I'll say a very simple thing. Let's, while whatever comes, especially from the mouth of the US president, no matter what Tavleen says, that I may be personally inclined to agree with her, the fact is you have to take it seriously as a government. But other than that, let's stop, let me say, getting puppeteered with all of this. Okay, he said it, fine. Now let's investigate it. Let's get that going. Let us not do what you said when you started this program, that, he's causing ruckus in the rest of the world. Let him do it in his own country. They elected him, do it there. We may all
but can I be contrarian? Can I be contrarian for a moment and just push a little bit on this idea of regime change in Bangladesh? I think that's his point, that where was the regime change? Actually, the regime change happened in 2014 and it was the Anna movement. But Bangladesh, it is widely believed the Americans had a political project in Bangladesh and may have funded that attempt. They may have funded that attempt. If they can do it there, the conspiracy theorists would say, why can't they do it here?
No, Barkha, 2-3 things. One, in the entire world, post-decolonization after the Second World War, there is no country with a stable democracy like there is the case of India. Let's remember this. Secondly,
agreed.
Insofar as Bangladesh, etc. is concerned, you don't want me to tell you on your program what everybody else does and what others do. And have they done it? I don't know. I have no evidence, nothing. I'm reading the same sets of newspapers as others. If you have some evidence, fine. There, people were on ground saying we want to change. And they made it very public about it. Look, in my own understanding of all this, matters do need to be investigated. If there has been a violation of the law, then there needs to be, necessary action on all that. The rest of it, you would agree that on this program, it's not right for me to be uttering my views and so on and so forth. We have these two gentlemen who have their own views, and Tavleen, who's a celebrated columnist who has a public persona on all of that. A good.
No, fair enough. You're living up. You're living up to your reputation as an impeccable professional diplomat and being nuanced. The rest of us are being a little more moopart, at least in asking the questions. Tavleen, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to make 2 points. Did you hear Gaurav Bhatia just now? I mean, if that isn't the voice of the third world, he's the spokesman of the ruling party in India. If that's not paranoia, I want to know what is. Secondly, I followed what was going on in Sri Lanka. There was rage in the people. That was not regime change by anyone. In Bangladesh, is it in America's interest to have Islamic, to make Bangladesh another Afghanistan? Would they, if they're doing regime change, why would they do it against Hasina, by the way, brought this on herself. We know what she was up to. There was absolutely no democracy. There were rigged elections. We know this, right? And every opposition leader was in jail or kicked out of her way. So let's understand why they would do that. But what really intrigues me is why Trump keeps saying kickbacks. So he's trying to talk about Americans having made money by, basically he's talking about the corruption of his own country. So I don't think we need to be, that bothered about it. He's actually just going for what's going on there, because the kickbacks couldn't be to India. They were kickbacks back to America. So, I think we should let them worry about it. And, and let's stop being so paranoid. I find it pathetic the way these BJP spokespeople talk. Really, I do.
Rajiv, not to put you on the mat there after what Naveen said, but the question is this, to take the conversation ahead. Kickbacks by definition means money being routed back to the United States of America. Are we then saying there was an attempt to manipulate elections that failed? I mean, I think Tehseen lists the elections. The only time that there was actually a regime change was in 2014. Everything, right? So when Trump says maybe they wanted someone else to get elected, who is the they? Who is they? And if the BJP believes that they is the Congress party, it will take not more than 5 minutes for the government's investigative agencies to place that evidence in the public domain.
Barkha ji, the investigation will take place. You will have to give some time. But I want to respond first to Tavleen ji. I have highest regard and I read her article and I have sent many my friends that article about that, which is published on last Sunday, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
But what she is saying about Rahul Gandhi, I'll come to that. But what ma'am is saying that it is not in the interest of America to establish the Islamic government. But America is always there for that only. In Iraq, there was a secular government under Saddam Hussein removed. ISIS was fit by Americans. Thereafter in Libya, Gaddafi was running the country. Well, now Islamists are ruling. So don't say this, that it is not in the American. Everybody knows that how, because the Awami League government was very close to India. And that's why many people, including Chinese connection, may be there in Sri Lanka as well as Bangladesh. So don't say that why USA will, USA is for Islamist government because they will have to deal with one moron. One moron who is dictator in Islamic world, you can deal with them. If there is a democracy, then it is difficult to deal by Americans. That's why Americans.
But what do you think has happened in India? What do you think has happened in India? Yeah.
Barkha ji, it's a very serious, what I'm saying, so that is one. Second point, as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned, you can see there one picture is there. What is the reason China is a competitor, adversary? Congress party is signing an agreement with Chinese Communist Party. What for? We do not know what is the contents, what are the clauses of that. Tehseen Poonawala must be having information about the clauses. What is the clause between when you sign contract, Barkha ji, if me and you sign a contract, there will be clause. So what is the clause? Is a Congress party. It's a Congress party should show to the world. So that's why Rahul Gandhi is a habitual offender. The moment he goes out of the country, he starts talking ill about the country. He's talking about democracy in USA. He should talk at my Chauraha, na? He should go to my village in Bihar and he should discuss democracy there, not going to USA.
Okay. Let Tehseen respond to this. I mean, Sam Pitroda hasn't helped matters, but I think Tavleen wanted a brief interjection before that and then Tehseen. Tavleen, go ahead.
One more line I want to add.
Acha, one more line. Okay, last line.
I am saying Congress party has first time confessed that sab leta hai. Congress party is that way they are honest. Just Pawan Khera said, sab leta hai, humne bhi liya. BJP aisa nahi keh rahi hai. And as far as Smriti Irani ji is concerned, she was the brand ambassador of WHO between 2002 to 2005. Till 2003, she was in Congress party. I think Sheila Dikshit ji, for a leader, CM, I think that time something has happened. I am not having any information, but she was not in BJP when she became the brand ambassador of WHO. What is my information? Just I am sharing with you. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Smriti Irani, it's not just Smriti Irani, Rajiv ji. Jai Shankar ji, as foreign minister, has met with the USAID
There is nothing
ambassador.
wrong in that. I am meeting anybody.
Exactly. Agreed. Agreed. I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm just saying USAID was not always a pariah. That's all I'm saying. It's Trump who has said that USAID is somehow a hub of corruption and wasteful spending. Tavreen, quickly, and then Tehseen.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make two short points. One is USAID was started by Kennedy to actually establish American influence in the world. And they fund a lot of things that are, for instance, in Nepal, they've withdrawn funding to a major project because Trump has just got rid of it. But in Bangladesh, if you think there was a democracy under Sheikh Hasina, you really need to think again. I mean, the reason why there was come on, Sheikh Hasina was running a fair election. Let's be serious. Okay, she may be our little dictator, but she was a dictator.
Right.
I mean,
I think we're mixing up multiple debates. Has what followed in Egypt, Libya, Bangladesh been worse than the problem? That's a separate debate. Has there been an attempt to assert American influence, including on the electoral process? Is the current debate. Tehseen, go ahead. Tehseen?
That's why I said the debate, the Nibandh, the essays on the house, the answer is on the cow. But let me come to the issue. And just one fact check for my dear friend Rajiv Bhai. Rajapaksa family was the illegitimate family of the Chinese. The Chinese would never want them out. In fact, they were anti-India. Very clear. And anybody who knows geopolitics knows it. They were very anti. The only people Rajapaksa was good with was Subramanian Swamiji. But that's another debate on another matter. Let's come to the issue at hand. Look, let's go with what Rajiv ji saying. Let me play the devil's advocate. Listen, Joe Biden wanted a regime change with Sheikh Hasina out there. Let's accept that. If that be the case, what was my government doing? From where the honorable ambassador comes on your show, what was his ministry doing? What was my raw desk in Bangladesh doing? इस तरह से काम करते हो वो regime change वहां से कर दिए 10,000 15,000 किलोमीटर दूर and you are sitting here, you don't know there's a regime change happening, money is coming in. So even if what the BJP is saying true, this is a failure of who? The gentleman whose name I took earlier, Ajit Doval ji. The raw desk was clueless, like a deer in front of headlights on a highway. Let us address the issue at hand. The only issue is this: was there a regime change in India? If yes, in what year? Two.
What about an attempt? What about an attempt? It's not whether the attempt succeeded. Was there an attempt?
If there is an attempt and this money is come into NGOs, all the data shows that the NGO funding increased dramatically after 2020. All of this funding shows that the NGO rules were tried, the Modi government tried to tighten the NGO rules. Even despite that, if NGOs are getting illegitimate money, giving kickbacks in the United States of America and trying a regime change in India, who's answerable? Surely not Rahul Gandhi. It has to be the government and the Election Commission of India. Number two, we again miss a big number. Mike Ben said 2019, nobody is going to what Mike Ben said, which made President Trump as president and it made Prime Minister Modi as prime minister. Why aren't we discussing that? Without numbers, we're talking, we're shooting everywhere. We don't even have a target. What is the year? What is this regime change? What voter turnout? Where was it used? How was it used? Can we have some answers?
Okay. Meanwhile, the Indian Express didn't really reveal what records it accessed, just take a minute before you respond. But it did link to a LinkedIn post by a USAID official. We can bring that up. The LinkedIn post had a USAID official talking about giving $21 million to Bangladesh, which is why I think the Indian Express kind of tallied this figure and said, oh, the money went to Bangladesh. Trump thought it went to India. But Trump's second speech says 29 million went to Bangladesh and 21 came to India. So it's just important. And 19 million went to Nepal. This is Trump's breakup on record. Now, Rajiv ji, go ahead. Can we unmute Rajiv ji, please? Yeah.
Saying that being devil's advocate, that after 2020, maximum money came to India. After 2019, I'll tell you, before 2019, all the people who have a pathological hatred for BJP and RSS, they thought in May 2019, BJP government will go. Like Atalji lost the election, even after doing development. So till 2019, their efforts were not as big as after 2019. So 2020 onwards, Across the globe, all the people who have a pathological hatred for India also, they started pouring more money to remove the government. However, they have failed. Tahsin ji, your point is saying that money has come more in 2020 and thereafter. I am saying yes, it has come, but they failed to motivate the people of this country that let's dislodge this government because government has done better work. Maybe they would have affected 2-3% vote and improved the vote of Rahul Gandhi. That's why maybe 3-4 seats have gone up.
Okay.
50% seat have gone up. So what I'm saying, Tahsin, your argument that it has come more after 2020 doesn't support any basis, sir. That's
Okay,
why. Thank you.
I wanted to pull out the reference that Rajiv ji made to the MOU between the Congress and the Communist Party. This refers to a 2008 memorandum of understanding between the then ruling Congress and the Communist Party of China for a mechanism that would help regular high-level exchanges between them. The deal was signed during Party Chief Sonia Gandhi's visit to Beijing with her family for the Olympics inaugural ceremony. Now we are wading into all manners of geopolitics here because some would turn around and say, okay, the Congress did that. Why is the BJP again resuming talks with China, etc.? But I just wanted for our audience that reference that Rajiv ji made to be brought into the open. Tehseen, go ahead. The last comments from Tavleen and Ambassador Puri. Yes, Tehseen.
Yeah, you're right. We're going all over. This is not a debate. Because it can't be that Congress is signing an MOU with the CCP and therefore Joe Biden is trying to do a regime change in Bangladesh and remove Narendra Modi. I mean, this doesn't make any sense. Let's stick to the issue at hand. I am saying that the monies came into NGO. Rajiv ji saying all across India, Indian haters wanted to remove Narendra Modi. Arey, itna gyan tha Bhajpa ko and they did nothing. They didn't even save Sheikh Hasina ji. That's what I'm saying. It's very easy. Retrospective vision is always 2020. Can you tell me if money came in for regime change and that is the cause of why Rahul Gandhi and the Congress got 50% extra seats as you've claimed? What is the Election Commission of India doing? Therefore, I'm asking what the ambassador said in his opening remarks.
Investigation will take place. Don't worry.
So there's a regime change.
Will take place and culprit will be brought
right.
to book.
So the BJP is on record on Barkha.
Okay, Tehseen.
Look. Sorry, I'll just take one
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
so the
yeah,
BJP,
okay.
I'll end this here. So what the BJP said on Barkha that's true is, listen, we firmly believe there was election manipulation. Elections are not free and fair. The Shairi speaking.
Investigation, you don't put words in my mouth. Until
I'm not. I'm just repeating the words.
Tehseen, my question to you. Okay, Rajiv ji, 1 minute. I have a question. I have a question for Tehseen. The question is this: what do you make of Donald Trump's two statements? You, Tehseen Poonawala, what do you make of it?
Donald Trump is not a typical right-winger politician. He's a populist politician. Populist politicians are getting elected, just like Prime Minister Modi and other populist, the Argentinian president. He's not typically
Therefore what?
Therefore, you play to a gallery. If you see, a lot of President Trump's attacks have also been on Republican leaders. You play to the gallery. Now, if this money's come in and there's been a kickback in America, please go ahead and investigate whatever I got to do. आपके घर में कोई दिक्कत है, मैं क्या करूं उसमें?
Okay. Rajiv ji, 30 seconds. Rajiv ji, 30 seconds, and then Ambassador Puri and Tavleen Singh take the last words. Yeah.
No. What I'm saying, we are discussing a subject in which we are not having all information. So we are just analyzing what can be the reason. Yeah. I have only said 2-3 things that America is involved in regime change across the globe. I'm not saying only in Sri Lanka or Bangladesh. And Congress party, Rahul Gandhi is a habitual offender. They signed contract with China. Only these 2 points I said. Right now, I don't have any information.
Okay.
Until investigation
just one word. Just one word. I won't take more than one.
Okay.
Just one word.
I am saying let investigation take place. We will all come to know what is the
I agree.
issue.
I think we agree with that. Do we agree with that? Yeah. Okay, one line.
I agree. Except that the ruling party of India and its national spokesperson had a press conference blaming the leader of opposition who lost his grandmother and father to terrorist attacks of being anti-national. They just had a press conference using language which was irrepressible for the leader of opposition.
Okay, guys. Aside of this BJP Congress politics, Tavleen, there's a larger issue here. This is the American president. I agree with Ambassador Puri. Whatever we think of Trump, he can't be ignored. If he's calling Zelensky a dictator, it means he wants the Americans to pull out of supporting Russia. There's a plan to what he says. He's not just saying these things. How can we just ignore it?
Yeah, no, don't ignore it. But I would be more worried if it was Chinese interference in India. The West is on our team. The West wants India to succeed. Ask the ambassador. The West is not in the mood for India to be attacked and etc. because they think of India as a buffer against China. So for us to be that paranoid about the Americans doing something is to me, meaningless, because if it was China doing it, we need to be much more worried.
Okay, Ambassador Puri, the last word to you. One of our audience members says, I just want to bring that up again. Sorry, let me read that. Trump has read out line items from the Doge audit of USAID via the US government's OMB payment system. This needs further investigation before we draw any conclusions. Is this for the Americans to investigate or the Indians to investigate?
Barkha, look, we've already said that we will investigate if the monies came to India, and let's wait for that. It is really for the Americans, because I want to draw your attention again to what the American president said. And, as I said, my personal views may be very much like Tavleenji's, but, let's focus on this. The American president said what he did. He spoke about kickbacks. He spoke about what's happening in America. His point about India was very simple. It's the world's largest democracy. What's the issue? Why were we spending money there? His approach to all this is his own and domestically centered and about his own people. Remember, the general allegation is that this money went to some organization in the United States of America. The rest, is let me say, we still have to join these dots and make that happen. Let's wait for the investigations. We have to do what we have to do because the President of America has said it not once but twice. And the rest of it is, of course, our analysis of what happens. But let's also be very, very, very sure that we are a robust democracy, one that has stood the test of time. But on the other hand, there is every need to be vigilant, and laws cannot be allowed to be broken. That should be quite clear.
I think we can all agree with that last comment. Ambassador Puri, thank you for that. Rajiv Pandey, Tehseen Poonawala, Tavleen Singh, and Ambassador Puri, thank you so much for your time this evening. And to our audience, thank you. See you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.